money. And my estimate, and of course I can be wrong by a few years, is that we're probably going to be using gold and silver as money around the world in another 20, 25 years from now, which is not at all a long period of time. No. When I make a statement like this, I have some credentials to ask for some respect for my opinion, because for the last 15 years I have been publicly speaking and writing, anticipating that the US dollar will collapse. That it will not only collapse, it must collapse. 15 years now. No other monetary economist has done that. And I came to that conclusion based on my study, not so much of monetary economics, which I have studied at 2 universities, but more because of my study of eschatology, or the branch of knowledge which studies the end of history. We are now living at that moment in time when the US dollar, it is widely recognized, is on its way out. How could I, 15 years ago, anticipate what is now taking place and accurately anticipate this? I not only anticipated that the US dollar would collapse, but more than that, I anticipated that when it collapsed, that it would bring down the entire world of paper currencies, and that would make way for the introduction of a world of, a monetary system of electronic or digital money. In fact, I was wrong, because the world of digital and electronic money is already here. It now commands most of financial transactions in the world, and paper is only used for microtransactions. So I was wrong with that, but not by far. If I am correct that the world is going to return to gold and silver coins as money in the not too distant future, then it is not far-fetched for me to argue that what's wrong with our seeking to do it now. That's from the economic and monetary perspective. From the moral perspective, money should have integrity. Money should have integrity. Our problem today is that those who study economics and study monetary economics take morality out of the classroom. There is no relationship between morality and economics. That's nonsense. That's nonsense, yeah. So we insist that money should have integrity. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
What is wrong with that? What do we mean by integrity? Meaning, money has several functions, one of which is to be a medium of exchange for buying and selling. But the other function is to be a store of value. That if I work for the month and I'm paid my salary, the value of my salary should not be arbitrarily changed and diminished, and I be robbed of the fruit of my labor. The money that we're now using in some parts of the world loses value every year. And when the US dollar collapses and the ensuing panic reaction emerges, as I expect, the value of money would probably be changing by the hour. Runaway inflation it's called. But they only recognize inflation as rising prices. I recognize inflation as the falling or plummeting value of money. Money which is falling constantly in value is money which has failed to function as a store of value. That paper currency around the world has already failed. If I had 20 US dollars 80, 90 years ago, with that 20 US dollars, I could go to any bank and I can exchange it for 1 ounce of gold. All right? Today, that 20 US dollars probably cannot buy even 1 gram of gold. From 20, it went to 35, so it lost its value by almost 100%. That is 1944. And then by 1973, it went down to $160 for 1 ounce of gold. It lost its value by another 400%. This is the US dollar, not the Pakistani rupee. And today it's trading at about $1,700 for 1 ounce of gold. Clearly, this money has failed to store its value. It has no integrity. But the gold coin and the silver coin, all through human history, has successfully functioned as money, storing value. And so everybody knows that when there is runaway inflation in any country, the foolproof method of curing that disease is to introduce gold coins in the market. Argentina had runaway inflation, I think about 15 years ago perhaps. And Argentina introduced gold coins in the market and they solved the problem of inflation. Okay? So from the moral perspective, I think we have a very strong case of turning away from money which has failed to store value, which therefore has no integrity, to turn towards money which has, for all through human history, successfully stored value, and therefore which has integrity. And finally, from a religious perspective, for those who declare themselves to be Muslims, and who in so declaring have some sincerity in what they say, for them there is an obligation, because money in the Quran is there. It's dinar. Dinar is a gold coin. I think the word dinar predates the Quran, some thousands of years before. And the word dinar is linked to the Roman coin, which was called, I can make a mistake now, I think it's denarius or something like that. But you can check it out on the internet. So maybe this name came from that name, but it's the name which was used in Arabia, dinar. And the word dirham, this is the dirham that we have here, the silver coin. It is in the Quran. Our Prophet Muhammad, Allah's blessing be upon him, used dinar and dirham, and all the prophets of God used dinar and dirham, everybody, all through history. It is part of the religion of Islam. And we have a religious obligation to recover that which was, I can't say lost, I have to use a stronger word, that which was taken away from us. We have a religious obligation to restore the dinar and dirham, and we have to do it quickly, because if we don't, then the world will return to gold and silver before we do, and that would be disgraceful for us.
Does the timing of when the dirham and the dinar, would it be relevant? I mean, if the world returns to it before the Muslim world does, how would that be?
I just said it would be disgraceful for Muslims. And those who are not Muslims are using the money which is in our scripture and which our Prophet used, and we are not using it. That we should have to turn to them for guidance and follow their example would be a very sad commentary on our conduct, our religious conduct. I pray to the one God that he may take me away from the world, that I'm not alive to witness that day, because the disgrace will be too great for me.